Haha. Got it. Sorry. I was muted.
We were dancing to the beginning.
That little intro thing, I like it. I think it's pretty catchy. I like our intro. If you like our intro, let us know in the comments. If you don't like our intro, let us know in the comments.
And if you'll do anything, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe.
That's what
it's all about algorithms. You don't have to understand how it works, but we would appreciate it. Oh, look at you. Wow, you put this. Mr. Wheatley, high five. Oh,
bam.
Right. This is my thing. Okay, so now the
poll is
dude,
up. You got to hit the poll.
Have you subscribed? Yes or no? Doing it now.
Oh, man, this is cool.
All right, so you got to put that
We're kind of riffing for a little bit.
We're
trying
learning.
to give
we got 2 votes. 2 people have voted. Woo!
We got 2 votes. Do you like and subscribe?
Okay, so
right.
we got to make sure to add that.
Oh, I go here. Do I go here?
Right, you got. Well, that's your.
Look.
Yeah, see.
All right, so I got 4 views. So it's yes, 100%.
Woohoo!
So the other person in here needs to say no
or yes,
just to see how it works.
All right. We're waiting on you, third person.
Yeah, we are waiting on you, third person.
Not to put you on the spot.
The third person might not have, they might be on their phone, so they might not have a way to do the chat.
All right, well, let us know later if you're there.
So we're about 4.5 minutes in, so we're just kind of giving a little bit of time for people to...
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
420 Friday, last Friday in July. Did you know that?
Is it really?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Next Friday, it will be August.
Holy shit. That's pretty
fast.
Sorry.
I know.
That's wow.
Well, you and I, Mr. Wheatley, have been waiting for this past week for like all year.
Yeah.
So we just like got to have our fun for a couple of days and pretend we were like,
young again. It was pretty cool.
It was lovely. We had a lot of fun.
We went and saw some concerts. Who did we see?
We saw Darkstraw Orchestra.
Yeah. And then we saw Yes, which was really cool. If you're like into like 80s.
It was cool. I wanted to put my jazzercise outfit on. It really was time warp. It was and awesome. I gotta tell and here's something. So and then a couple days later we went to Fish and we just saw Fish. And
that was last night.
Tell you their game? Oh my God, Fish's game on the music. I mean, on the lighting is next level. Next level,
it's out
dude.
Of control.
There are things each light. Hi, Kristen.
Hey, what's up?
The lights
that's
all move in all types of things. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. And I always say his name wrong, but Chris, who's
not Chris Cuomo. That's a different guy.
I always say his last name wrong, but he's like the pretend 5th member.
Corrado or
something like
that.
Kudos or I always call him Chris Kudo.
They played. They started with AC/DC Bag, which was cool. But then I think was the next thing they played was Steam, and I think walking in, I said, I hope they play Steam, and they did. Man, it was awesome.
The other thing was
lights
they had
were off the hook.
Yep, and they have rumble pads, which if anyone's a musician, you might know what that is. But it's
very interesting.
It's we watched Mike Gordon, who is the bassist for Fish. We watched him maybe last week put in this explain this rumble pad on
it was on a
short or something, right?
It was Instagram.
Oh, Instagram. Because I don't do the ticking and the talking, just to be clear. I don't.
So find Mike Gordon on Instagram. That'd be
and it's a rumble thing. So he stands on it because when they were in the sphere in this total circular environment, they couldn't have any sound. They couldn't rely on the sound coming back to them. So they learned to stand on this pad and feel it through the vibrations of this pad. It's really pretty cool. I'm telling you, technology is out there. Okay.
Wicked.
So we've been recovering and we're happy to be here. And thank you for those who may have traveled with us. We know our travel show was a little bit rough, but we soldiered on. We soldiered on, and that was what's important.
We did. We made it. Are you ready?
Yeah. So
I'm sorry, I just snorted, but it just makes me want to smoke a bowl of that music. So our CEUs today, hopefully at least in Connecticut, hopefully this will be very helpful. Our CEUs today are how do you choose weed when you can't touch it, smell it, or anything, see it.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
like totally hospitalized in Connecticut.
mhm,
It is as weird gets from anyone who is used to cannabis. It's just weird. It's weird. And you're expected to pay this money,
mhm.
which is a good amount of money
It's a
for
lot.
something you have no idea what it's going to do.
Right. And that's the whole point, is that you're spending your money on something that you haven't seen or touched. Like, how many things do you buy sight unseen? Right?
Oh, well, I think we might be a little,
I mean, that could go
more
down
people do
that could go down a rabbit hole.
that's a whole
But
ordering
I
Amazon thing. I think, but that there's a return option there. And there is, okay, so here's something interestingly
Yep.
that we have had products
Mhm,
that
mhm.
have been faulty.
Yeah.
And we have tried to return them, as in hours later, faulty.
Mhm.
And they can't take them back.
Nope.
There's nothing they can do. And that
All
puts
sales
the
are final.
person who is, whether you're using it medicinally or you're a consumer and you're enjoying it because you're of the age of
Recreational, sure.
21, you still have now spent your money, and
It's
this
not doing
thing,
what you thought it was going to do.
and I'm not talking about you misunderstood. I'm talking about like it breaks, or, it spits out a ball of something that burns your throat,
Right.
things that are like big deals. So let's go to,
So what I did was I made a presentation that's going to just take us quickly through what I do to choose the cannabis for Mrs. Weedley, and how I've been doing it sight unseen all these years. So I made this, and I'm hoping that you like it.
I can't wait.
Neither can I. Okay, ready?
Start at the beginning.
Yep. I know. I want to start at the beginning. Okay, ready? Here we go.
Go.
How to choose weed. When you can't smell it or touch it, strain info will be imperative. You have to know about the strain that you're going to be buying. If you're getting something that's called Awake and it's a sativa, you're rolling the dice because you don't know what strain they're talking about, what effects it's actually going to have. The second thing is you need to check which terpenes are the most abundant, because that's going to give you a little bit of an idea about how the cannabis is going to affect you. And so when I go on,
What is this you are on?
the website for the dispensary,
This is
this
a
is what I see.
dispensary website.
This is a good example of a Connecticut dispensary. And
So can we just stop for a second?
Mhm.
So when you go to this dispensary website, right?
Mhm.
I'm assuming that there are a whole bunch of choices and you choose edibles, tinctures, lotions, blah, 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 right?
for they call this flower.
Flower.
The bud.
Thank you. Okay, so that's
So flower, just in flower, they have 57 different types.
okay.
57,
Just in flower alone.
just the flower.
All right. So you go to the flower and you have these 57 types. And what is it you focus on?
So the first thing I focus on THC percentage, only because we have high tolerances and I need to make sure it's over a certain percentage for it to really work. But what I'm looking for, really, I go through the list and I just look at the names. So this is whole flower, Queen of Soul,
You're looking at the names.
I'm looking at the names. This Sadivarian SLS, we talk about that a whole episode another time. That's a really hard thing, but like you get Rare Darkness, Devil Driver. So
where do you want us to focus for here?
In this presentation, we're going to say we focused on and clicked on Rare Darkness.
Okay.
And so what happens when you click on Rare Darkness is you come up with a page like this. When I say you're trying to check which terpenes are the ones.
Are you still in the dispensary?
This is still on the dispensary website. Yep.
All right.
You've just clicked on Rare Darkness.
Rare Darkness. Okay.
Right. So it comes up. It would say Rare Darkness up here.
If you
right if you scroll. But for this presentation, I didn't want to do scrolling. But you can see here you've got myrcene, you've got caryophyllene. Those are two big ones. And if you remember your terpenes, you remember Myrcene is a sedative and pain relieving terpene. So
anti-inflammatory.
Anti-inflammatory, those types of things. It's going to, because this is most abundant in myrcene compared to the other terpenes, you know that this is going to be kind of a sedative one that's going to be good for pain.
Okay.
So the next thing that I do is really with any type of sorry, go ahead.
You are focused on the THC and the THCA, is that correct? When you're picking out a strain, once you've narrowed it down, you are looking at those two numbers.
Am, but that's a whole nother level.
But that does affect how
it affects
powerful.
How powerful, correct.
And it is a very correct thing to say that the cannabis that is being manufactured today is much more powerful than a cannabis from 20, 30, 40 years ago.
Hands down.
And so, and that's not necessarily a bad thing as we're trying to get our cannabinoid systems regulated. So it's not about getting high. It's about getting balanced in your life. So as we learn these things, we should be able to learn how to use them.
Right.
Correct? Okay.
And really the THC is secondary to the strain and the terpenes. So that's really something I look at it because you and I have high tolerances. But if there were times when I didn't know THC levels, that would be okay because I'd just be doing strain and terpenes.
And I'm bringing it up because I know that we're going to talk about crossfading in a little bit, and that the level of THC in a strain would be something that if someone who was crossfading would want to think about. And that's so I'm bringing attention to it now to keep in mind later. So here's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about, is that what, right?
No, those are the
THCA,
terpenes. Oh, there
right
you go,
here.
right there, yep.
That's the acid, and you use that, make the equation, you put that in the THC, and you figure out actually what the level.
And you come up with right about 20. So yes, just to kind of get back on.
Put a note in that.
We'll pin it for next time.
There you go.
Terpenes, important. So the next thing that I do is, and why won't this start now? Oh, you bummer.
You're doing
okay, there we go. So the next thing I do is I go to a website called Leafly. And Leafly is really important because it's a really good resource for trusted information. I don't know. There's just a lot I've done with the website to know that they know what they're talking about, and they can give they're like meteorologists. They can give good information, but they can't obviously, pinpoint everything we're talking about, All
right. So you move to Leafly, and we're on Rare Darkness. Is that what we're looking at?
Rare Darkness.
Okay. So you're going to
So I would enter Rare Darkness up here.
Okay.
In the strain box, right? And then what would come up is this. You'd see a page just about Rare Darkness. These are the pages that we do during strain spotlight. Okay. So what I'm looking for here is I'm looking for the parents. It says a cross between the prized genetics of Rare Dankness #1 and the sweet flavor of Grape Ape.
And when I'm journaling, because I'm so visual of a learner, when I'm journaling and we're dealing with these hybrids, it is journaling just kind of being like, here's the parent and making a circle, and it's these two things. It helps me so much because I know what Grape Ape does. You learn it after a while. And then what you find is there might be something that's not Grape Ape. It might be something else, ape.
Sour grapes or whatever.
Or sour grapes or diesel ape or something. And okay, which part of the ape part does it retain, and which, so you get to learn these things.
And you'll be able to gauge how you're picking your
They do fall into categories, even though it doesn't seem like they do.
So with this one, let's say I don't know Rare Darkness. So I would say Rare Dankness. I check that one out. I do know this, so I'm going to move to one I don't really know well, which would be the Grape Ape. And so I would click on Grape Ape, and the next thing would come up would be a Grape Ape page. Now, I'm looking for the effects that this one's going to give because this is contributing to the strain I'm actually looking for.
It's important to
Does that
remember that.
make sense?
Yeah, and I think that's important to remember. I think that's something that a lot of people leave out when they're dealing with this. And you know, I fault the fact that we haven't had research on this for so long, right?
Mhm.
But when we mix these two strands, it should be, if we mix A and B, you should get AB together.
Mhm.
But we know that's not true.
No, sometimes you mix A and B and you get C.
And we also
Often
know
that's what you do.
it will react differently in a human, depending on the human's
Mhm.
cannabis system and cannabinoid system. And so it's very important to really, like, when you talk about this at a chemical level, which is what I'm hoping to do, because I'm hoping to make people be able to have a more balanced life, right? That's what this is about.
Right.
So if you're talking at a chemical level, you can't just assume that because you put X and Y together, it's going to give you this. And we need these studies, and we
Mhm.
need people who are willing to try it out. And one of the things you and I talked about is, one of the things that I personally pay a lot of attention to is the ratings. And I know that Mr. Weedley often gets a good chuckle out of them. That's what I mean. He takes the information, but really he likes some of the things
Well,
people
some
say,
of them
because
are
they're really
pretty
humorous.
funny. Some of them are really high while they write them, and so they tell you they are. So
Mhm.
it's just really.
And you know, the writers, they're really into it. They just want you to know everything about this.
But the good thing is that even in those, if you skim the review, you'll catch the words of the symptoms you're looking for, and then you'll say, "Oh, okay, well that goes with what the description above said."
And what
So
I have
these
found,
leafly pages are really, really important.
and what I found to be very helpful in the ratings is going through them deeply and really finding someone who has the same condition or
Mhm.
has the same symptom
Yeah.
or is looking for the same thing I am, and reading what they say and trying to find, you know, 2 or 3 if I can. I always like to have 3, you know, opinions that are the same, you know, from the same
Yeah,
kind
you
of
have to dig
perspective.
deep for that.
And then I decide. And what I find is that when I can find a similar condition and do it that way, it is very helpful
Yeah,
in helping
which just
you
tells
guide you. Like I say,
yeah.
oh, this person said this,
Well,
and
which
this.
just
And
tells you that the scientific community and research and whatnot is so greatly needed, right? Do you know what I mean?
oh yeah, well,
Because there's so much to, you know.
and that's one of the positives of moving it to level 1.
So when you can't smell or touch it, the strain info is imperative. We've shown you kind of how I go about doing that, and checking the terpenes that are the most abundant, because that's going to give you an idea. If you remember from from a couple episodes ago, the terpenes, it's not an exact science, but they can point you in the right direction in this case. And that is how you choose weed.
I wonder how that static sound was at the end.
Yeah,
If that was bothersome or really loud or whatever, then let us know, okay? Because I don't know if it was, but leafly, that's what you want to check.
Yep, leafly.
All right, what's next, Mr. Weedley?
All right, so hang on, because I got a lot of things going on all at once. Oh, not that one. Okay. All right, there we go. So, never have I ever. Today's never have I ever is never have I ever been cross-faded. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is for 2 reasons. One, if you ever hear the term cross-faded, you probably should know what it is. So,
Run the banner.
I did.
Oh, good. Thanks. Just want to make sure
Right?
anyone who's
Do you like the banner?
who's celebrating the 420 Friday is celebrating, because it's 420.
It is 420.
Yes.
On the East Coast.
On the East Coast. Cross-faded means you drink,
yes,
and then you decide drink alcohol, and it would be a good idea to then partake in the cannabis. And
so really what it is it's drinking alcohol and smoking at the same time. Crossfaded is those 2 things, period. Whether it's a good idea or bad idea, people have different reasons for doing it. So what I wanted to do, Mrs. Wheatley, is I want to show you these cool sites that I found.
But we're going to tell most people that if you have not partaken in cannabis as a regular thing, consuming alcohol and then deciding to partake in cannabis is a surefire way to not like cannabis.
Yeah.
And
Well, to not like cannabis and to
have a really bad time.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Really quick. So let's just check. I'm going to go quickly through these because I don't want to just bore people to death, but
this is from Jointly.
This is from Jointly, and I find these guys do a really good job, like Leafly, giving good resources to jump off of. So I read this article, helped me find the next article that I'm going to show you. But what does crossfaded mean? And basically, again, it means that you've described how it feels to have consumed cannabis and alcohol at the same time. So what does it feel like? So people might, think, well, why would you do it? What can you expect from it? And so, it says, as you might expect, being crossfaded feels like a combination of the typical effects caused by consuming alcohol and cannabis. Well, duh. But when you put them together, it can result in an even greater feeling of intoxication than either substance might do on its own in the same dose. Right. So some of the risks that you come up with.
Are people talking about it like it's a good thing?
No,
okay.
Not at all.
I just can't.
No, I'm just
you're talking about it like it's something regular, and I just.
Oh, no. I'm talking. Really, all I'm doing is just giving you a quick little
you're defining it.
1 second thing, because a lot of this article are these studies.
Okay.
And so I left the link in the description so you can go there, click on it, and you can read the studies. But basically what it's saying is the risks that go along with being crossfaded are it comes down to the risks of alcohol. It just jacked up. So you've got,
I haven't read this, but I would imagine that it has to do with your blood pressure, like speeding up and then dropping and speeding up and then dropping. And I could be totally wrong, but just that's what I would imagine.
Interestingly, the authors also note that separately, the combination of marijuana with alcohol versus alcohol done alone did not increase the number of negative consequences experienced, whereas the combination of alcohol with marijuana versus marijuana alone did.
Ooh, interesting. Oh, I love that. That's like a square is a rectangle, but a rectangle is not a square.
Exactly.
So let's wait, don't go. So separately, right? Combining marijuana and alcohol versus just alcohol didn't. So if you have marijuana and alcohol or just alcohol, it didn't really increase the negative experience. However, if you have alcohol and then you add marijuana to it versus if you just did marijuana without the alcohol, it did increase it. So that says leave the alcohol alone and go with the cannabis. If you're going to have to choose between the two, because you're more likely to have bad consequences if you drink the alcohol and the cannabis, or if you just drink, versus if you have the cannabis and the alcohol versus just the cannabis. Did I say that correctly?
I think you said it correctly. I think what it means is that if you do the alcohol first, don't do the marijuana.
No, it's not talking about first or second.
Oh,
it's talking about combining marijuana and cannabis versus just having alcohol. The effects are just as bad.
Right.
But if you have alcohol and you combine the cannabis, it's worse than if you were just going to smoke the cannabis or have the cannabis, which makes total sense to me.
So
dizziness, drowsiness, nausea, vomiting,
the whole nine, just jack them up to the sky. And that's what,
and the only thing you can do is drink water and hope you have a nice friend that sits with you.
How long does
sweating, chills, dizziness, increased heart rate and feeling of disorient? What did I say?
Yep. Right here. Increased heart rate and feeling of disorientation. How long does it last? It really lasts.
Genetic.
It says right here, from person to person, depending on the rate at which their body can process alcohol and cannabis. How many drinks does it take to be considered crossfaded?
How many licks does it take to get to the center of a lollipop? Who knows? You have to decide that.
Yeah.
That's a silly question. And that is a silly question.
Okay, here's a good one. What to do if you're crossfaded, and how can you stop being crossfaded?
First, stop consuming substances.
There you
Number
go.
1, I bet it says water. Go. What does it say?
First, you should take stock of your symptoms. If you're at risk of passing out, recruit the help of a friend, sit or lie down.
Recruit the hell out of there, yes.
And slowly sip on a glass of water.
Yes, water.
There
Water,
it is.
fresh air. There you go.
If you don't feel like you're going to pass out, but you do feel dizzy and nauseous, where you get the spins,
Unbutton your pants and put one foot on the floor. No, it doesn't say that.
you should still let another person know about your condition.
Yep.
And do your best to find a quiet place to rest until you feel a bit better. No.
Wait. No, it's going to say it. It just says it. One folk remedy, not a folk remedy, a real remedy.
It really works. For the spins is to lie down on a flat surface, such as a bed.
Face down.
Place one foot on the floor.
Unbutton your pants if you have jeans. Just
because you're trying to make your gut comfortable.
Yeah.
And you put your foot on the floor to stop the world spinning. Is that true?
Right. And it's not just your gut, like, well, and maybe it's different for women than men, right? But when you think about like a woman's anatomy, if you think about where her pants are around her waist, if you're trying to take deep breaths like from your diaphragm, you can't do that if you're like corseted in any area, right?
Right.
And alcohol, which is what we're talking about, alcohol leads to bloating. And I'm not telling you this scientifically. This is just how the science should work if all the science that I know works together. And again, someone who does this for a living probably knows more than me, but your body bloats and retains water, and the pressure on all of that pushes on one's lungs and heart, which is the area that you need to expand in order to get your blood pressure down. And so that's how I think it actually works. I could be wrong. And then you put your foot on the ground. So yes, so that the same way that like you pick a focal point, or like people get lost in space if they don't have a horizon. Like, yes, you, and that's why, like, for me, it's always face down on the bed, or, you know, the 1 or 2 times it happened 30 years ago.
No, face down. Well, I tell you we can do
another time, but spins face down on the bed.
The last thing I'm just going to do really quickly, it says how to stop vomiting when crossfaded. And I thought the really funny thing is, unfortunately, if you're crossfaded and vomiting, you'll likely just have to wait.
This is what I said.
Until your body is finished throwing up. Go get yourself a bucket or go to a bathroom and settle in.
And let someone know.
Yeah, and let someone know.
And maybe someone will give you like a cool cloth or wet cloth, or bring you some water or whatnot. But yeah, you're on the ride, my friend. You are on the ride, and you're okay. That is what you need to continue to tell yourself if you get crossfaded, my friends, is you're okay. And if you don't feel okay, you need to talk to another human being who hopefully you respect and have a ability to say, I don't feel okay. Am I okay? And they can tell you, because, you know, maybe you do need to go to the hospital. Most of the time, you just need to kind of like wait it out, have some water, and then make a different decision next time. Okay, friends? Because there's just enough time to enjoy it all. Puzzled. Hey, Puzzled.
So
when do you eat the mushrooms? That's a whole other day.
Yeah, we'll do that one soon. Just really quickly, I'm sharing this because it's from a place called Zinnia Health. And like Mrs. Weedley was saying, if it's happening, you got to tell somebody, you know,
and don't be ashamed to tell someone. Like, seriously, I mean, this is like for my friends out there who are younger, don't be hanging out with people that you can't trust. If you're going to be putting yourself in situations, like, seriously, take a stock of what's going on around you. Trust your gut. Don't do things you're not comfortable with. It's okay. Saying no is okay. And you know what? You have a bajillion days until your days run out. So don't be afraid to think things over, or to test drive, for lack of a better way of saying it, your friends. Hang out with your friends a few times, especially when you're like meeting them for the first time in college and everyone's new. You can't just trust people necessarily. And if you're going to be altered, you certainly have to be with people you trust. That's just my PSA.
Yep.
Okay, Mr. Weedley, go ahead.
So I am just lightly scrolling through this. I encourage you, if you really are interested in the topic, take a look at this link. I put it in the description. It's from a company that helps people if they've got problems. So if this is something that
Overuse problems, treatment problems.
Yeah. So it's information you can trust, and it's geared towards, if you need help, reach out. This would be, something. There are places to reach out. Just Google it.
And what we're learning in the mental health field is that it's not all or nothing with most things. There are a few drugs that really some people get addicted to, and it's all or nothing, but they're changing a lot of these to become more substance abuse disorders, meaning how are you able to balance it in your life versus it being the substance itself, because you could replace it with anything.
Right. I always say everybody has their vice.
Right. Whatever's giving you that dopamine, right?
Correct.
Okay. So what do we have next, Mr. Weedley? God, I love that. That's my favorite, 10 seconds of the whole show. It really is. It's my favorite. All right. So the symptom you chose
is the giggles.
The giggles. And why did you choose that?
Because one of the desired effects one might have is to get what's called the giggles. And it's uncontrollable laughing. It's finding things funny that, well, maybe they're a little funny, but you find them so funny you just can't stop laughing. It could be one time. Oh, that one doesn't work. Let's not do that one.
So it's induced joy is really what you're talking about. You're not talking about embarrassing yourself with the giggles.
No.
You're talking about doing something and then feeling euphoric afterwards. And you're talking about, instead of putting on a mask or saying I can't or whatever, you're talking about if you were at home or you were totally comfortable and you were just letting the symptom go, you would potentially giggle. Yes?
Yeah, I'm saying it's even more than that, that even in a social situation, you might not be able to control the fact that you're giggling.
And this is where we come from the different thoughts of symptom talk,
Correct.
The two of us. So you want to control it. And so...
Or what I think is, if you're looking for the giggles, I'm going to show you a way to find cannabis that will give you the giggles.
Right.
You want to say if the giggles are an effect of doing the cannabis, this is what you can do.
Oh, if I don't want the giggles.
Correct.
Oh, okay. That's how you... So...
Isn't that what you mean?
No, I think you and I have been saying the same thing for a couple hours when we've had the same conversation round and round.
We're just saying the same thing differently.
But since we are actually recording this, I got it. I'm ready. Ready?
Okay.
Here's the trick, my friends. Here's the trick. The trick is set and setting. It almost sounds like a joke because when you go back a bajillion years, not really that long ago, but when you go back to when scientists were looking at how to use drugs, mostly in a weaponized way.
Military, yeah.
And they started talking about set and setting being important. And set and setting are what's important, in my opinion. It's the people you surround yourself with, it's where you are, and it's you being comfortable in that time and place. If you're not comfortable, you're not going to be comfortable under any condition. And if you are comfortable, then there's nothing that should happen with the intake of cannabis that should make you uncomfortable. Now, what if you just get the giggles and everyone else around you just doesn't have them?
What if they don't find it as funny as you do? Or you're one of those people that when you get uncomfortable, you kind of giggle, and then this rolls, and now you've become a giggling fool in front of these people.
Okay, well, so first of all, you hopefully have a person who, like me, who would pull you out of that setting and say, "You're a giggling fool, get it together." And likewise, right, vice versa, right? Or a set of friends or whatnot. Hopefully you have people. But if you don't have people, whatever the case may be, you need to get to a different place. So in your actual physical sense and in your mental sense. So I would go to DBT skills immediately and talk about what can you smell, what can you see, what can you touch, what can you taste. I'd give you the cold water. And then I
something to shock you, to change that
giggle
record, because the giggle is coming from a record.
If you want to change it, also.
But sometimes
sometime embrace the giggle.
The giggles. Like this one time, I will tell this really quick story. One time, when I was much younger, I went into a Dunkin' Donuts, and I looked up at the menu.
Yeah, much younger. This was like
this was when
2000.
Oh, this was way before 2000.
Okay, so that's how long ago we're talking.
We're talking, yes. Back in the days of time to make the donuts, right? So I look up at the menu, and it was wicked overwhelming. And the woman comes up and she goes, "Can I help you?" And I looked at her, and I felt this wave of laugh come over me. And I just barely got out, "Nope, I can't." And I turned around and walked out and died laughing. I couldn't tell you what I was laughing at. I think I was just really overwhelmed. But she said something. I was like not even close to making a decision. And it was way out of my league.
Good for you for not really funny. On her.
It was really funny.
I mean, just good for you for moving out, set and setting.
Yeah.
As you removed yourself, like you held it together long enough to not puddle in front of her.
Yep.
And removed yourself. And I guarantee you, if you had walked out and seen a police officer, you would have tightened it up.
Real quick.
Walked another 25 feet before you lost it for laughing. All right. So the giggles, set and setting. Change your set and setting.
The giggles. But if you want the giggles,
then you're looking for euphoria.
Go back to, but the cool thing is you can actually go back to Leafly and you ask for strains that will give you the giggles. And so these are some of the strains. Gary Payton, I've seen before. Jealousy, I've seen before. Super Boof, we've had Super Boof. Cap Junkie,
was that one? Limoncello? We've had that one.
Limoncello?
Cello?
I don't know.
Limo.
This one is FPOG, is Fruity Pebbles. OG. Fruity Pebbles is something that.
Oh, I know what Fruity Pebbles is.
That comes in pretty often. Pineapple upside down cake. We've seen that before.
So this is another one where I would go to the read the what's it called, reviews, because people will say, "Oh, we couldn't stop laughing," or "Oh," and that's where I happen to get a good feeling on it.
They're usually down here.
Okay,
so there you go.
What's next?
Our
strain. What's our strain spotlight? I want to start singing like don't say anything because I'm gonna forget it. What was that movie that my father, the soundtrack to Big Chill?
Big Chill.
That's what I want to start every time.
Is it really? I want to sing, or I want to see Dennis. What was his name? Dennis Miller?
No, not Dennis. Well, that's the comedian's name, but that's not who
he had a late night show.
Yeah,
but that was the intro to the late. It was that song was the intro to that show.
Oh.
So every time I hear that song, all I can think of is the intro to that show.
No, there's like a Huey Lewis in the News song or something like. I'm gonna show you.
Okay.
Okay, and then we can learn it, and we'll just start singing it for the next show. Okay.
All right. That's not Huey Lewis in the News. That's Tears for Fears.
There you go. Tears for Fears. See, I don't know, but I know what I'm talking about. Okay, go.
So the
horchata.
Yeah. The strain today is horchata. Where is the horchata?
Wait, do you have anything in writing about horchata?
I do. And we're going to share that because like I always do, horchata is just how it sounds. Horchata. Horchata. And the horchata.
It's a hybrid marijuana strain crossed by jet fuel gelato. And oh, this was a whole conversation. Is it mochi gelato? Did I say it right? Or mochi?
I think it's mochi gelato. I think so I find horchata to be a really awesome strain. Reason why is it's these two gelatos, right? It's the mochi and the jet fuel. So it's got gelato that goes in both directions.
We were talking
energizing
about this.
And sedating.
Right. We were
So
talking
you
about this
really
earlier.
get best of both worlds.
You should.
You know,
I mean, that's what you should get if
Correct.
I shouldn't say should. It's what you would assume to get. But what we have found is mixing a lot of these different ones, you don't get that. However, this particular strain, why you're picking it out, is because you have found that the two gelatos together actually amplify the gelato experience that you're expecting. Isn't that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's a good way of putting
that
it.
You're saying? Okay.
Yeah, because gelato is really good for pain. I mean, that's always when
it's
I see gelato.
Uplifting and relaxing. It helps with muscle tension.
Yes.
It helps with focus. Particularly for people who deal with a great deal of pain on the regular basis, people who aren't aware of their amount of pain until it's decreased a little bit. Like that's how I am, is that I don't necessarily notice when I'm in pain. It's when I'm out of pain that I'm like, ooh, this feels good. So the gelato makes me feel on plane, like a boat on plane, both physically and mentally. Like the horchata. That's what it seems to do. It makes me physically feel,
because that's what it's supposed to do.
Is it like on plane? Like not like I'm trying to get there, but once the boat gets on plane and it's not requiring as much power and it's kind of doing its boat thing.
Right. So it says here, horchata effects are uplifting and relaxing. It does say up here, the effects of horchata are more calming than energizing. And so I jumped down here and I look. It's kind of close to the middle. You know, but
it's like 30%.
Yeah,
that's a third. That's not a middle. That's a third.
Well,
the other one's like 65%.
So the effects are uplifting and relaxing. But it says some consumers say this strain makes them extra talkative. So the reason I picked this strain also is because the chata at the end of horchata makes me think chatty, which makes me think talkative.
So just side story, when we were at our concerts, not Fish, but when we were at the South Bay Festival and people were having conversations, all I could think of is that some of them were very chatty and
you wonder what they did to get that super chatty.
Yeah. Some of it I watched. I wanted to be like, dude, that one doesn't need chatty. It needs less chatty. There's too much chatty. Interestingly enough. So horchata is not a concert one.
No. But well, horchata could be a concert one if you want to talk to the people while the band's going on.
This is what I'm saying. All right. So moving on.
All right. So I've plugged these guys before. I absolutely love these guys. The Soil Makers. This place is crazy. You've got to get your soil from these guys. I'm doing, it's not my first grow, but it is my first real, like, hardcore attempt. And I've got 2 plants indoors. I've got 3 plants outdoors. One of the things I was going to show you is those plants really quick. So
this would be a good time to plug our what's it called, website. So I'll put it in the thing. Yes,
the website in the chat, please.
My Bud, right? Oh, use My Bud.
Use My Bud.
So on this website, one of the things we have, the thing we're focused most on, is a blog. And this is Mr. Weedley's first. We did grow once before, but we yielded something. Is all I gotta say. And people were like, "Oh my God, you yield!" We yielded actually quite a bit.
I went back and looked at the pictures, dude. The leaves were
They're
like
pathetic.
browning. It was bad, but it was really good.
But
really
for the
good
best
weed.
time. For the best
I mean,
time. I mean, for the first time.
Yeah, it was really like it was solid. It was green.
People could not believe that we got a couple growing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this time
So
it was
this
like,
time-
what are we gonna do? We had X amount of
I had 14 seeds
that we had collected throughout the year, pretty much, because this
from
is
the
growing
dispensary
stage.
seeds.
Yep.
And so I took 14,
We label them when we get them.
tried to germinate them.
Mm-hmm.
7 of them germinated.
Okay.
5 of them actually came to plants. So now I have 5 plants total.
Okay.
I have 2 of them indoors. I have 3 that are outdoor now.
Okay.
This is the first one that I did outdoor.
Can we just like zoom in? Like, can we like show people?
Yeah, but I got a lot to show. So
I know,
don't wanna...
but like, can you explain it to
Yeah,
them?
I will.
Okay.
So here's my indoor plants.
No, we're
This
going
is
indoor
how it
first.
started, right? Well, it started with that one outdoor, and now these 4 were indoor. This is how I started. If you take a look at this guy right here, you know, he looks smaller and short stubbed compared to these other ones, right? So eventually,
we got all the soil from the soil guys, and the whole
Yes.
thing was, listen, you got to deal with the lights, you got to deal with the humidity, water, and keep them like safe because they're delicate. But other than that, everything else you need is in here. Right.
Yeah, you don't need to do the pH. You don't need to do the minerals or the I don't know, phosphates and all these
Last year we
different
weren't able
things.
to go away when we were growing because there were so many things to check. This year we could go away, and it was we went away
That
for a
is true.
couple days, and we were able to have it look like with our dogs, not in a way that someone needed to be a scientist to do it.
Yep.
So, and the thing you did was you added mulch, right?
I did. I put mulch onto the top. So you can see here in this picture that there's a mulch on the top of it.
Why?
So because it holds the water in,
Mm-hmm.
so it keeps that soil moist longer,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't have to water as much.
What we were trying
But
to avoid, what was
Also, it keeps the fungus gnats out. So while keeping the soil wet, it doesn't allow for bugs and crap to lay their eggs and grow from there.
So the cedar itself keeps that, it's like a barrier pretty much.
Correct.
And it has oils in it and whatnot that keep the bugs and the fungus from continuing to breed, or fungus, they don't breed, they what do fungi do?
They spore.
They spore. High five. SATs, they spore. Good job. Okay.
So these are the 3 that are outdoor now. This is the one right here. This is that small little stubby one.
Which one is he? What is he?
He's Bruce juice.
That's some Bruce juice.
This is Bruce juice. This I have no idea what it is.
That's our
The only thing I can tell you is that the leaves on this one are thinner than the leaves on this one, and on see, you can I did a close up. You can see these leaves are totally different than those leaves and those leaves.
Look at the yellow. Oh, those are turning. See,
But
that's a
this
whole
was
nother
just
thing.
this is just before I watered.
Right. That's why we
So-
took that picture, because you see how they're turning down a little bit, those leaves.
And now these are the ones that are inside, and this one's
Did you take
Sunday
that picture
driver.
through the lens? So when
No.
you open this unit,
I have to put glasses.
you put glasses on.
Mhm.
I wonder if you did it through the lens, what it would look like. Because see how it looks very weird?
Mm.
Like it looks kind of like it's faded out, or like there's sand on top of it. Or
Yeah.
maybe
try
next
it.
time try that. See,
All right.
because maybe that's what's
I'll have to,
maybe there's a filter or
I'll
something.
have to
But
wear different glasses. I'll figure it out. Yeah, I
Hmm.
could try that. That might
yeah,
be an
don't
idea.
blind yourself in the meantime, though. So what
Right.
do you think you have in there?
So right now I have a Sunday driver, and then I have one more Bruce juice in here. These guys stayed in here because they really are they're filling the tent. I mean, the light is right here. I'm about 11 inches from the light to the top leaf. So it's usually between 11 and 13-ish.
Is
So
what you want to keep
is what you want to keep.
from the top light that hangs.
Correct.
Mhm.
And these 2 plants are really just filling out, and they're filling the tent. So I'm just going to let them fill the tent.
And that's
And
what you
then-
did when you clipped them, right?
I clipped
When
them.
they came to the budding part,
Mhm.
you went down and clipped them for how many? It was like 3 or 5 days that you could do that for?
Oh no, you can keep doing it. If these ones get too much taller, I'm gonna have to top these guys out and let them bush out more. I don't know what I'm gonna
bush
do.
them out.
Oh,
Doesn't bushing them out make more?
yeah, but
You
I've
should
kind
bush
of
it
got.
up.
I know, but I've kind of got like as much as I can get at the moment. If I do more, it's going to be more than I can handle. So, if you want to see where the trimming and that stuff I've done, go to the website, check out the blog. I do it every day. So right now we're on day 46.
Is there a place to leave questions on the blog?
Right now there is a place to contact.
No, not to contact or leave. Like, is there a place for that for people to interact with your blogging?
No,
we should
not
look.
yet.
We should
I'll look into that.
into making comments.
One of the things that is a little handcuffing about the website is that it's done through Shopify, and so it limits kind of some of the multimedia things you can do.
All right, well,
but we use Shopify because the products that we sell on the website I think are really cool. There's a Ragland t-shirt with the Use My Bud logo, which anybody would like. If anybody would like to buy that and send it my way, I would love to wear it. I'll take a picture of myself headless wearing it. So these are just a couple more pictures of my plants.
We moved those indoor, the outdoor ones kind of around. Oh, this is a great picture. Look at this picture.
This is the last one.
So I suggested to Mr. Reedley, hey, why don't you take a picture? This was after you watered, right? And I was out with the pups. So I was to the side. And then all of a sudden, Mr. Reedley goes, oh, there's a monarch butterfly on my plant. And I said, get out.
Right there.
Look at that.
It was really cool. And it totally chilled there for a couple minutes.
Look at.
Yeah. Right? That's a monarch, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know. It might not be a monarch, honey. No. Now that I see it up close, I don't know.
Oh, well, it's a butterfly.
It is a butterfly.
It's pretty cool. I thought it was a monarch. It looked like a monarch. It made me feel monarch feelings.
Okay. Well, that's good. It might actually be a moth. Now that I look at it, I didn't get a chance to look at it.
Well, that would be sad if it were a moth.
Yeah, it's definitely not a monarch unless it was just hatched and the 2 quarters on the bottom didn't. It's only because I taught this. So
well,
it still is beautiful that all of a sudden a wonderful orange
and black,
but orange is kind of like my color. It's my gun safety color. I kind of adopted.
I just found your shirt, by the way.
Did you? I can't wait. Because we've had enough with the gun stuff. Not that you can't have your gun. I'm not saying you can't.
So, do you have any last thoughts for today?
No, I'm pretty proud of us. I think we might be back on track here. And I appreciate anyone who took the time to watch. I appreciate anyone who's rewatching it.
It's cool that the chat kind of happened today.
Yeah,
that's a lot of fun.
That is so exciting. I am really excited about that.
Yeah,
we had a couple of people. We had Puzzled in here. We had the audio guy. I saw Kristen. I thought
Chase. Chase is in here too.
Yep.
So that's awesome. Thank you very much for doing that.
Thank you.
Hopefully, with this, definitely like the video because that's important. Subscribe, and tell people about it. Like, let's get the word out, and the more people that we can get in here, the more conversation we can have, and we can dive deep into things that you want to dive deep.
And if you have like a specific question, please send it our way. There's nothing I would like more than like to get an actual question and be able to give you an answer.
Like, comment.
And if we don't know, what we'll tell you is we don't know, but we're going to find out, because that's what teachers do. We educate. Thanks for being here. Enjoy your weekend.
Yeah. We'll see you next week.
Peace.